Kima Katsuragi is known on the internet for his ability to capture any girl in any Bishoujo game, although the girls in real life do not appeal to him. He accidentally accepts a contract with a demon named Elsie de Ruxima, or Elsie, who wants his help in capturing evil spirits that have escaped from hell and have hidden themselves in girls' hearts. Kima must find a way to make girls fall in love with him in order to force these spirits out, or else both of them will be killed by the magical collars on their necks if the contract is broken. His first target is his classmate named Ayumi Takahara, training for the upcoming track and field race. Kima cheers her on by displaying banners using Elsie's magical raiment at the school field each day. When Ayumi is annoyed by his actions, Kima believes she will eventually grow to like him. After a confrontation with jealous upper-classwomen, Ayumi sprains her leg the day before the meet. However, this injury was realized to be a fake since she has doubted her confidence. Kima consoles Ayumi, saying for her to believe in herself. They kiss when Ayumi helps Kima from falling down the stairs, forcing the loose spirit out of her body and allowing Elsie to capture it. Ayumi won the race but lost all of her memories with Kima. She blushes when Kima congratulates her. Much to his confusion, Elsie has transferred to his school, claiming to be his sister. Later, Kima is dismayed upon learning from Elsie that there are many more runaway spirits within the city. After meeting Mari Katsuragi, Kima's mother, Elsie claims to be her husband's illegitimate daughter, though this causes Mari to snap during a phone conversation with her husband for his infidelity. Kima refuses to accept Elsie as his little sister, since she does not fit the criteria in his view. However, upon hearing her story on wanting to be successful just like her senior sister, Aqua, Kima reluctantly accepts Elsie as his sister. During lunch at a popular Sobawa sandwich stall, Kima and Elsie found their next target, Mio Aoyama, a rich girl who proceeds to buy all of the yakisoba sandwiches. Kima believes she is an easy target as she has all the characteristics of a tsundere, and a love confession might break her hard shell. Unfortunately, the confession does not work as planned, and Mio has her chauffeur to beat Kima. As Kima and Elsie follow Mio to her home, they are surprised to learn Mio was poor as she lives in a shabby apartment. Kima and Elsie overhear from the chauffeur that Mio is no longer rich since her father has died and her mother has been working hard to make ends meet. The chauffeur leaves in disgust after the proud Mio refuses to stop pretending to be rich. Mio catches Kima snooping around and quickly goes back to her apartment. Since Kima is the only one to know her secret, he can use it to get closer with her. Kima becomes Mio's new chauffeur by biking her to school in various elaborate bike carriages made by Elsie's raiment each day. As he eventually gets tired of driving her to school, Mio almost tempts to whip him, briefly making her smile, but quickly reverts to her cold expression and goes home. Kima now begins the next stage of his plan by bringing her to a grand ball by invitation. At the ball, Mio is upset that Kima brought them to the mansion gardens, but Kima gets her to teach him how to dance. However, after encountering a few noblemen who look down on Mio's current status, Kima finally tells her that she should stop pretending to be rich as an act to look up to her deceased father, convincing her to let go of the past and move on and live her own life. Kima kisses Mio and the spirit from her body is captured by Elsie. The next day, Kima and Elsie meet Mio, now without any memories of Kima, who has a change of attitude and has accepted her family's status and burns incense for her late father. However, she still acts proud. The next day, Kima attempts to finish and get the heroine, Sora Asuka, from a Bishoujo game named Crayon. But the game has many bugs, including one that loops a previous scene over and over again. Not making things any better is the fact saving the game only crashes it and the game company that made it is now bankrupt, thus there are no patches to fix the game. In order to avoid the bug loop and finish the game, Kima forcefully enlists a reluctant Elsie to help record the choices that he made in the game. Elsie is at first confused on why Kima takes the game seriously but soon respects his dedication to help the girls in his games just like the girls he helps in real life. After many attempts, Kima finally manages to avoid the loop bug and goes to the next scene but unexpectedly gets into another bug, resolving him to try again much to Elsie's horror. An article about Crayon reveals a rumor that someone managed to get the ending, hinting that Kima was able to finish the game. One day, Elsie has become a fan of the popular teen idol Kana Nakagawa. However, Kima shows no interest in her, explaining the flaws of idols in real life compared to video game heroines. Unknown to both of them, Kanon just so happens to be a classmate of their class and is coming back to school. When Kanon meets Kima on the school roof garden, she is shocked and depressed to learn Kima has no idea who she is and proceeds to tase him repeatedly. Elsie detects an evil spirit inside of Kanon, being Kima's next target. Kanon vows to make Kima acknowledge her and make him her fan by holding a private concert just for him, but Kima ignores her, as he believes it is a trap as boys should be chasing girls and not the other way around. The next day, Kanan holds another concert for Kima which he ignores again. A sad Kanan suddenly starts to disappear in front of Kima and Elsie. Kima and Elsie realize that Kanan is actually turning invisible because of the spirit inside of her and manages to stop Kanan from tasting him again by praising her song. As Kima sends Elsie to investigate, they learn Kanan was once a member of the pop idol group Citron before they disbanded and has never played any songs from her old band. Kanan's need for attention was the result of people not noticing her in the past. Kima later receives an email from Kanan and cheers up the depressed Kanan at her television shoot. Kanan continues sending Kima an obsessive number of emails to visit her whenever she feels down. With their relationship going smoothly, Kima agrees to come to Kanan's Christmas Eve concert at Narusawa Seaside Hall, where she will perform in front of 10,000 people. On the day of the concert, Kanan is again nowhere to be found, and Kima knows it is time to go to the final stage of his plans to capture Kanan's heart. As Kanan prepares for her concert, she soon gets second thoughts and fears that she will mess up and be forgotten again, causing her to turn invisible. She leaves the stadium, which sends the backstage staff looking for her. As the concert draws near, Kima finally finds Kanan at a nearby building. Kima knows why Kanan fears being unnoticed, telling her not to seek attention as proof as an idol, since her hard work to become one was the proof all along. With his encouragement and her fans cheering for her, Kanan kisses Kima, which causes the loose spirit in her to leave and be captured by Elsie. Kanan returns to the stadium and receives letters of congratulations for her progress thus far from her two former bandmates, Yuri and Lime. She goes up on stage and gives an amazing performance to the large crowd. As Kima and Elsie leave, he tells her his views on idols has not changed, but said Kanan not as an idol, but a shining star. A few days later, Elsie is angry that Kima called her useless for making his lunch, due to having bizarre ingredients that are still alive. After her friend Chihiro Kosaka advises her on how to impress Kima, Elsie decides to make a strawberry cake for him. Unfortunately, she misunderstands the recipe instructions and mistakenly uses hellish ingredients instead of normal ones, causing many accidents including releasing a mandragon and blowing up the home economics classroom. At the same time, Kima irritates his English teacher Ichiro Kodama, who dislikes the fact Kima constantly plays games during class yet still manages to get perfect scores on tests. After getting into an argument with Kima about this at gym class, Kodama is chased by the mandragon. The mandragon eventually arrives at the Katsuragi residence, where it drops Elsie's cake. Kima returns home and finds Elsie's cake and eats it out of guilt. However, because he was hiding, Mari mistakes him for a thief and hits him on the head with a vase. Kodama arrives at the Katsuragi residence for his meeting with Mari, but sees the mandragon get eaten by the lunch that Elsie made earlier, scaring him away. Later, Kima orders Elsie to go to the school library to learn modern human history after learning her knowledge about human history is 2 centuries out of date. Instead, she becomes fascinated on a book about fire trucks. When she looks for more books about fire trucks, she asks one of the librarians, Shiori Shiyamiya, and detects a spirit inside of her. After bringing Kima to the library, the two are amazed that Shiori managed to find 458 books related to fire trucks. While Kima thinks Shiori used the library index, Shiori, deep in thought, wants to tell him she was able to find them as she remembered all the books she reads in the library but is too shy to speak up. The next day, Shiori arranges the books in the library and explains her love for books. Kima is aware how shy librarian girls like her are easy to figure out as they are a common character in games, but unlike games where he can read what the character is thinking, finding out what Shiori is thinking might be more difficult. As Shiori removes some books to be disposed of and laments to herself about their fate, Kima helps her get one book she cannot reach. Shiori tries to think on how to thank him but fumbles in her words while thanking him. Shiori is embarrassed on what she said and tries to leave, but when Kima comments on why books are useless nowadays, with much courage and anger, she verbally calls him stupid before quickly leaving. Kima later reveals to Elsie that he is purposely angering Shiori in order for her to speak up. It is revealed Shiori has been unable to speak normally to people due to her shyness, so she has been exploring various books to compensate for this. The next day, the library committee has decided to add a media room to the library. Shiori tries to give her opinion to the committee but is too shy to speak up. Later, she catches Kima writing in one of the library books which he justifies that he was making corrections and comments how books cannot instantly be corrected, upsetting Shiori. The next afternoon, she catches Kima doing it again only to realize he is scribbling in his own book. In anger and confusion, she starts thinking out loud without realizing it until Kima points it out. The next day after that, Kima introduces himself to Shiori and talks about the library, now that she is speaking normally to him. With Shiori now speaking up, Kima decides it is time to capture her heart after finding a library notice to dispose library books for the media room. Shiori locks herself in and barricades the library to prevent the library committee from disposing of books for the media room. As the committee tries to get inside, Shiori falls asleep and dreams how her love for books began until she is awoken by Kima, who manages to enter the library through a hole at the rooftop made by Elsie with her raiment. Kima has come to support Shiori in her protest and stays close to her. The library committee cuts the electricity to the library, surprising Shiori and causes some books to fall over them. As she hugs Kima, Shiori tells him that only he understands her love for books and reasons for protecting them. However, Kima calls her a liar, saying that she did not barricade herself to protect her books, instead herself to the world. Kima already knew that she always wanted to socialize, but her fears of being misunderstood prevented that, which is why she reads books as an escape from the real world. Troubled with this revelation, Shiori feels unsure on what to do until Kima drags her out of the rubble of books, telling her that he will give her courage and kisses her, which releases the loose spirit from her body, allowing Elsie to capture it. As the library committee enters the library, Shiori finally speaks up for herself and explains her reasons, which the committee agrees to have a meeting. In the epilogue, Shiori feels like she has forgotten someone who was with her during her protest, so she writes a story on what she remembers. Due to helping Elsie capture spirits, Kima has gathered a large backlog of new games he has not played yet. During the weekend, he plans to finish all the games in his room by playing 6 games at the same time, doing so with impressive speed while still managing to logically make the right choices and enjoy each game individually, but he suffers from burnout later on. Elsie finds this shocking yet bewildering and leaves him alone. Realizing he cannot finish all of his games at this pace, Kima decides to up the ante by playing 24 games at once. Kima finally manages to finish all of his backlog games except one, as he is too tired to continue, but he soon starts hallucinating that all of the game girls he captured are encouraging him to not give up. Rejuvenated, he finally finishes the last game and follows his game girls into the game world where they all sing and dance together. And that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing and liking the video, and with that, peace out.